Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a man that is currently staying here in Europe, but you'll just say that I am in the United Kingdom. I came here a very long time ago, soon after high school. That was when my grandfather did send me to the United Kingdom when I started going to university. So whilst I was in university, then I started enjoying to be around people that were like-minded, because growing up I never believed that there was a God in heaven because of what my grandfather used to say. My grandfather taught me that there is no God. He was someone that was highly educated, and he did not believe that there was a God in heaven. So I was more like a Satanist, and I know that a lot of people, they are not going to agree, but most of the people that do not believe that there is a God in heaven, at the end of the day, if you check the things that they believe in and the things that people that are into Satanism, they believe the same thing, that there is no God who is supposed to give us the rules that we are supposed to live by as a society, and we are not supposed to be obedient to that God. So it is one and the same thing. An atheist believes that you should live your life the way that you want. If you want to live in sin, if you want to do whatever that you want to do, you can do it without fear that God is going to punish you at the end of times. And that is the same thing that people that are Satanists believe. They also believe that we are not supposed to obey the rules that were set by God. And when I was in university, we used to have debates, making sure that those that were weak in their belief of God, we destroyed the little belief that they still had by debating and studying the Word of God. And when I say that I used to study the Word of God, I did not study the Word of God simply because I wanted to understand the Bible, but we would study the Word of God in a group, looking for mistakes that we believed that these were the mistakes that were written in the Bible, the verses that contradict each other. We would write them down. We would study them even more to find more contradictions in those Bible verses, and we would go to those that we knew were very weak in their spirit, and we will destroy the little faith that they still had. Most of the people that I knew back home and here in Europe, those that no longer believe that there is a God in heaven, it is all because of me, because of the things that I used to tell them, even though I was a Satanist, because it is one and the same thing. An atheist and a Satanist, they are one and the same thing. There is no difference there. If you go really deep, atheism will return you back to Satanism. You will end up worshipping the devil. That is the end goal of being someone that does not believe that there is a God in heaven. You will boast and you will say that I follow no God, I follow no religion, but the belief that there is no God, because belief in itself, it is a religion. Anyone that believes in that idea that there is no God in heaven, it is a religion in its own. And what I discovered after joining this other cult from a country that is called Romania, that was when I started to realize that this is just a religion. But because we were living in sin, and it was nice to live in sin without having that guilt that a Christian will have after doing something that is bad. So we continued living in sin, and we continued with our belief that there is no God in heaven, even though the things that were happening in that cult, one could see that this is a religion. We were praying to the person who was the leader of that cult, you would only appear to us here and there, and whenever you would be with us at our group meetings, we will bow down and we would worship him because he had more knowledge of the Bible and he knew how to expose the Bible in ways that we could not even understand how he would get that knowledge. The women that we had in our group, some who were married, they will end up having orgies with him. I realized that this was a cult, this was a religion, but I kept on going back to that cult because it was nice to be part of the orgies, to be part of the dark rituals that we would go into the forest and to do those ancient Romanian dark rituals that we were taught to do. But when I got sick, I died 3 times over and over again, and each and every time I would find myself in hell, and there was this angel that would come. This angel will come and the angel will tell me that it is not yet my time, my appointed time to die, and I was supposed to return back to this world so that I can share with you that it is real, heaven is real, and hell is real as well. And if you die in sin, you are going to end up in hell. So growing up, my grandfather hated God in each and every way. You would tell us that there is no God in heaven. So I grew up with that mentality that God is for those that are desperate, those that are weak in their mind, and those that are uneducated. They are the ones that believe that there is this God that controls everything that we do, everything that happens. So my grandfather taught me that there is no such thing like life after death, and he used to give you hard cold facts that will force you to believe that indeed when you die, you cease to exist. There is no spirit, there is no soul. And the way that I was taught by my grandfather, when I would look at the animals, I would say, look at this animal, the way that this animal is suffering. Do you think that there is a God in heaven? Because if there was a God in the heavens, why would such a holy deity allow this poor animal to suffer in the most cruel way? And if God was perfect, why did God make us in a way that we are not perfect? Because as humans, we tend to believe that we were designed in the most perfect way, but there are so many ways that we are not perfect. Like when someone is swallowing food, there is a risk that you can choke yourself to death. So that is a design that shows that we are not perfect at all. So when I would teach this to people that do not have strong faith, then they will tip over to the other side and they will start to live their lives thinking that when they stop believing in God, they have given themselves freedom. So later on in my life, when I started to follow this religion, which I did not believe that it is a religion, but atheism, it is a religion on its own, I started to make my own investigations, and then I realized that most of the people that live in this world where they find it very hard to believe in God, those that choose that it is far much better to believe in a worldview that there is no God. If you see what they really want to achieve, they want to achieve what they call anarchy. They do not want this world to be normal like the way it is right now. They have a belief that the world is supposed to be a world without rules. As a society, we are supposed to live without rules, because if you think about it, if you take away all the gods, if you take away God from the whole world, then what remains is the government. The government will become like a god. And if you are an atheist who hates to be told what to do by God, if you remove God because God has given us these rules that we are supposed to live by, that you think that they are unfair, that makes you to feel guilty each and every time when you fall into sin, then we all agree that we do not want to live in a world where there is a God or where there are many gods. Therefore, it is far much better for us to just live our lives, and we are going to follow the rules that are going to be given to us by the government. Then after God has been taken away from the picture, then we will start to attack the government, and after the government has been removed, what remains is anarchy. That is what each and every atheist believe in, even though they do not want to accept it. But when you look, and if they search deep into their hearts, what lies and what remains in their hearts is that they want the whole world to be filled with anarchy. When I talk about anarchy, if you have realized that when people protest, what is the first thing that they do when they are protesting? If you realize that when people start to protest, within a very short period of time, it will be like these people, they are possessed, they have stopped thinking for themselves, and everything that will be happening during the protest, the looting, the senseless looting and the burning, it will be more like demonic possessions that will be happening. That is anarchy. That is the religion of atheism. That is what they want to see in this world. Once they achieve that goal of removing God from the picture, then after removing God, then they will remove the governments from the picture, and society will be left without rules. And in their world, even though they do not want to accept it in public, but in their world, they want a world of anarchy where anyone will do whatever that they want, because who is going to stand in front of the whole society and say that these are the rules that we are going to be living by? No, anyone will follow their own rules. If you want my wife, you can just come into my house and kidnap my wife or rape her in front of me because you desire her, and there is no rule that will stop you from ever raping my wife. If you see a man that has money walking in the street, what is going to stop you from grabbing money that belongs to that person? Because you have taken away God. You don't believe that there is a God in heaven, and God is the one that set the rules that we are supposed to live by. And after that, you have removed the government. There is no one that will be giving you rules. Everyone will have their own rules, because once you start to live by rules as a society, then you return back to God, because at the end of the day, there are rules that you have to follow. Everyone that was born with those rules in their heart. You cannot just kill an innocent person. You cannot just take what does not belong to you. And when you do that, you will have guilt in your heart. So they are trying to remove that guilt because they are living in sin. You can continue following your religion, but if you dig deep, you are going to find out that what makes you to say that there is no God in heaven, it is not that there is no God in the heavens, but it is because you are a sinner. You are someone that loves to live in sin, and you have rejected God because you do not want to accept the fact that you love to live in sin. I was the same like you. I knew that this was a religion. I knew that there is a God in the heavens because of the way that we started going to these rituals, and we would do some sacrifices in the forest. And then I realized that we were worshiping our cult leader, the person who knew more about the word of God, exposing the Bible. But still, because I enjoyed being part of that group with the rituals that we did, sleeping with any woman from the group, it was nice. So I continued to believe that there is no God, to rebel against him. But I was a sick, dying man. I had problems with my heart, so it was always on and off. I would go into the hospital, I would be admitted, stay there for many days. So there was a time when I was taken to the hospital and they said that I died for 24 hours. And when I was dead, these were the things that I saw. I was walking. As I was walking, that was when I saw my brother who died and this other cousin brother of mine. They took me and they said that they wanted to go with me to the place where they were staying. So in the place where they were staying, and the other side, there was a river that divided them. I saw that in the place where my brother and my father were staying, it was quite dark, but on the other side of the river, it was quite bright. And I then told them that I wanted to go and see what was on the other side of the river, and they told me that one cannot cross that river. Once you have been told where you are supposed to stay, then you cannot cross the river. And I said, why can you not cross this river? That was when they told me that when you try to cross the river, there is this bright shining light that will come at you, and it is too bright, so much bright that it will start to eat away at your skin. Therefore, you stay in your appointed place. As for my brother and my father, their appointed places were in that place of darkness. All of a sudden, that was when I saw this man that was as bright as the sun. When we saw this man, my father and my brother, they ran and they left me, and I was unable to follow them. That was when this man asked me what was I doing in that place, since I had not been given a place yet and I was supposed to return back to this world. So then I woke up. When I woke up, I found out that I had passed away. And then it happened once again. I was taken to the hospital. When I was taken to the hospital, I died again whilst I was on the oxygen machine. When I died, I saw two men that came to collect me. These men that came to collect me, they were quite drunk. They were both holding their wine bottles that were full of wine, and they kept on drinking even though they were quite drunk. They said to me, follow us. So then I started following them, for they told me that there was a place where we were supposed to go to. But as we were walking towards that place, I felt so much fear, even though they told me that I was not supposed to be afraid. These men, they started laughing because they were having this discussion, and what they were talking about, I did not understand. As they were laughing, I looked at one of the men who were accompanying me where I was supposed to go to. He opened his mouth, and I saw that his entire mouth was filled with teeth, sharp teeth on the tongue everywhere. I could just see teeth everywhere. So I got so scared. They looked at me and they said, you are not supposed to be afraid. They said this as we were passing the first gate. So when we were about to enter into the second gate, that was when I saw an angel, that same angel that I once saw the first time when I passed away. This angel came back to me and told me that I am supposed to return back to earth, and I am supposed to tell everyone that Jesus Christ is on his way. The time is near. He told me to tell people about rapture, and what surprises me about rapture is that this is what I used to debate on almost each and every time when I tried to destroy the Christian, the person that I'll be debating with on the issue of rapture, because they do not share the same thoughts, those that are Christians, on the issue of rapture. So that was our strongest point, that there is no such thing. So it was a surprise that this angel told me that I am supposed to tell people that it is going to happen very soon. I woke up and I found out that I had been hooked to the oxygen breathing machine. Here I am right now. I just want to tell everyone out there that if you want, you can continue to live in your sin, but heaven and hell, it is for real. Please post my own story.